I'm Chevy Chase, and You're Not is a new documentary by CNN Films on HBO Max, and it's a very good documentary. I watched it today when I heard of it from a guy whose channel it's is a very interesting documentary about the life and career of actor comedian Chevy Chase. It starts off with him being interviewed, and some of his friends in the entertainment industry are interviewed like Ryan Reynolds, Kevin Smith, um, one of the guys who directed episodes of Community. I can't remember all the people who interviewed, like Beverly D'Angelo, Goldie Hawn, John Carpenter was not. It's not an interview he did for this one. It's an old interview where he's talking about memoirs of the Invisible Man, and there's interviews with Chevy Chase's wife, their wife, and their three daughters. This is the one he's been married to the longest. The third one, I think it's the third wife. The acting in this movie is pretty deep. Not acting. The interviews in this documentary are pretty interesting. The we learn a little. I learned some stuff about Chevy Chase I didn't know. Like for example, he came from an abusive household, but his mom and I think his stepdad they were abusive, and his it's sad to hear that about someone. And a lot of people were interviewed in this documentary. They say that the reason he probably uses comedy as a way to hide to deal with the inner turmoil he feels from the trauma from being abused and other problem insecurities he might have. And it goes a little into his college years where he's doing that National Lampoon group with some buddies and playing some music. I didn't know he was into music, and he can play the piano and the guitar good. And it doesn't shy away from talking about his drug problems or his alcohol problems, and it talks about his career on Saturday Night Live, how he got famous, and then his movie career in the '80s with like Three Amigos, Caddyshack, um, Foul Play, Fletch, Vacation, Christmas Vacation. They don't talk about European Vacation or Vegas Vacation. I think there was another vacation movie. It's not mentioned. They don't talk about Fletch 2. They don't talk about Three Amigos. Well, they show clips of the Three Amigos, but they don't mention it. I mean, they didn't even interview Steve Martin or Martin Short. I don't know why. They don't interview Anthony Michael Hall or Christy Brinkley, who played the Ferrari girl in the first Vacation movie. And they don't interview Randy Quaid. Well, Randy Quaid's a bit of a nut and he's out hiding, so that's probably why. Play Cousin Eddie. The my favorite Chevy Chase movies are probably Three Amigos, the first Vacation movie, and what other movies has he done? I can't remember. Caddyshack. Those are my three favorite Chevy Chase movies, and I like Foul Play. Fletch, it's okay. Fletch 2, all right. City Slickers and City Slickers 2, I always thought those movies were boring and overrated, and I don't think Jack Palance deserved the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for that role. The some other stuff about Chevy Chase I didn't learn, like when they talk about memoirs of the Invisible Man, directed by John Carpenter. I didn't know he ever worked with John Carpenter because I've never heard of memoir. No, I think I have heard of that somewhere, but I never watched it. But after seeing some clips from it, I probably do want to watch it. And after learning that it's made by John Carpenter, because I like John Carpenter, and Chevy, and I like that movie he did with Disney with Farrah Fawcett, Man of the House. That was a funny kids movie, and he doesn't really do much anymore. Like I know he did that show Community that they talk about in the documentary, but he doesn't do much anymore. I mean, people say he's a prick and he's hard to work with, and they don't mention this in this documentary. But I heard that with Christmas Vacation, Chris Columbus was originally going to direct it, but he quit because he got tired of Chevy Chase being such a jerk. So they got someone else, and Chris Columbus went on to direct Home Alone. Wise choice, in my opinion. Because it wouldn't have worked any better in the hands of another director besides Chris Columbus. Well, maybe so if they got Spielberg to direct Home Alone, it probably would work better. um, anyway, excuse me. Talks about Steven. I mean, Chevy Chase he's a not. People say he has a nice heart, but you can tell that he's a bit egotistical. His ego does get to him. That's why his second wife Jacqueline divorced him because she got tired of him using his comedy to show off his ego instead of the nice person he really was around her. And he and they don't shy away from telling stories about him being a jerk to people, and I like how um, the interviews with his daughters. He got some pretty daughters, by the way. And I like when they did the SNL 50-year reunion special. They show an interview with him, and he talks about how he's kind of disappointed that they had Bill Murray on there, and talked about Bill Murray more than him. I mean, he did get into a fight with Bill Murray on SNL behind the scenes one time, but that's not even mentioned on this documentary. And one thing that disappoints me about Strong, they don't talk about his movies much. I already said that, but I mean, if you're going to talk about the life and career of a famous movie star, then their movies, making of some of their movies, should be an integral part of the documentary. That's why I think documentaries like these probably work better as like a episodic limited series instead of a feature length documentary, film, one film. Or he could have just written an autobiography and called it "I'm Chevy Chase and You're Not." And I did the title of the documentary. I just thought it was something they made up. I didn't know it was like a catchphrase he used on SNL until they showed the clip in there. And Chase is funny in some of the parts of the interviews, and I like the scene where he's reading fan mail from people. Although I disagree with what he said about Bill Clinton being one of the best presidents ever. Yes, the and he was acting like he didn't want to be there, and he was a bit rude to the lady who was interviewing him. And I mean, she didn't shy away from asking him like tough questions about his life. The and at the end of the documentary, that towards the end they show him like going on tours, hosting screenings of Christmas Vacation, which is funny. And he quotes that famous line about what he's going to call his boss in the movie. I'm going to call him a blah 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 blah. I can't say the whole thing, but the Chevy Chase is a talented guy. Probably not someone I want to be friends with because he is a bit of a jerk in real life. And I'm glad they didn't shy away from that. I'm glad they didn't make it a hit piece either. Nah, I give this documentary 2 thumbs up. All right, that's it for now. Thank you and God bless. Bye.